Hello guys, Saito. Good evening to you all. I'm back to my program again this evening. And as usual, my name still remains Murphy Ojo from Hypertech Studio here in United Kingdom. How are you doing guys? How's everything going on? My care out there, how are you guys doing? I believe you are trying your best. You've done for today, except those people who are still out there. What's the time? 10 o'clock. Everybody must be in their house now. So, how are you? How's everything going? How's the job? How are your clients, service users? How are they? I hope you're looking after them very well. You're not doing what I would not do out there. You're following some of my beats and pieces I've been giving you. Yeah, it's a job that is very rewarding. Yeah, it might be a bit tough sometimes. You might meet somebody that you don't. Yeah, some services that are very tough. Yeah, that is why we're there. That is why they call us care. That's why we're caring for people. You've got to have the passion, and whatever you even do in life, if you don't have passion for it, though some people work because of money, they get the money and then they can go and do whatever they have passion for. But you guys, I know what it takes to do your jobs, and I'm giving it to you. So today, what are we going to talk about? It's a shame because I said something last week that but it's a shame that I'm gonna go back to it. I said something about what's the name? The recruitment of social worker people, workers from all over the world, that I will not talk about it again. That is the last episode that I'll be doing. But unfortunately, I'll be talking about it again this evening. Why? Something happened. I stumbled onto something. And I said, okay, maybe most of you out there, you've listened to it before, or you've not listened to it. That's okay. I will share it with you guys. That is direct conversation from home office people with some provider. I believe it was last year, and I want you guys just to listen to it so you will know what it takes and how you can go about seeking for employment in the United Kingdom, wherever you are, so you will not fall into the hands of all these unscrupulous people who are just making you for their own good. They have nothing to offer you. I bet you nothing. So if you're able to, I will not take much of your time. I just want you to listen to this, and once the social care part finishes, and I will come back. Yeah, let me see what I can do.
Thank you for that introduction, and thank you everyone for inviting us today, and our colleagues from the Department of Health and Social Care and in Skills for Care for making this event happen. My name is Carrie Golding, and I'm the head of the external engagement team for the Future Border and Immigration System, and this includes the UK's points-based immigration system, reform of our sponsorship system, and the programme to digitise the UK border. And I'm joined today by my colleagues from Policy, Matt Dine and Richard Jackson, and together we're going to give you some key information about the recent changes to the shortage occupation list to include care workers, the health and social care visa, and right to work checks. I'm also joined by our colleague Andrew Edgar from UK Visas and Immigration to give you some information on how to become a Home Office sponsor. We will be sharing these slides at the end of the session, so don't feel like you need to write everything down. We'll also send a follow-up email containing all the relevant links to any guidance or support materials that we mentioned throughout the presentation. And we know that there's been tremendous interest in these sessions, so please do let people know if they weren't able to book that we will be looking at what else we can do in the coming weeks to publicise, and we will publicise any additional events that we can run. So as mentioned, we're really keen to take as many of your questions as we possibly can, and we are using Slido to answer the questions. And I think you just had the explanation on the upvoting, which is a really helpful way for us to understand which are the questions that are the highest priority for you. And please do use the links or the QR code. The QR code is going to appear on the link, should appear on all the slides as we go, so you should be able to go back and forth if required. We've got a lot to get through, so I'm going to get started, and I'm going to begin with the flagship route for the UK's points-based system, which is the skilled worker visa. The top line is that anyone coming to the UK for work, including EU citizens, needs to demonstrate that they meet a specific set of requirements for which they will score points. And this is the new skilled worker visa. And I'm acutely aware that recruitment within your sector interacts differently with the new system, so I will explain the differences that apply specifically to the care sector. We do have a number of changes so that it's simpler for employers to attract talent to the UK to complement the skills that we already have here. And for those of you who were familiar with the previous Tier 2 route for skilled workers, it's certainly more flexible than that. The core requirements are that the applicant must have an offer of a job from an approved Home Office sponsor. The applicant must speak English to an acceptable standard, and the job must be at a minimum skill level. The job offer has to be in an eligible application. So what does that mean? For example, professionals, junior managers, senior care workers, and skilled tradespeople can all be sponsored. Across the new system, this skill level is RQF level 3, which is broadly A-level equivalent and above, but this is different for care workers, and I'll go into more detail on that shortly. Crucially, it's important to remember that the workers themselves do not need to hold a formal qualification. It's the skill level of the job that they will be doing which is important. All applicants must also be paid the required salary for their job, and we'll look at that more closely in the coming slides. And there is also a criminality check on every application. So what's new compared to the old Tier 2 route? The cap on numbers on these routes has been suspended. The resident labour market test has been removed. The skills threshold has been expanded and the salary threshold lowered. The 12-month cooling off period and 6-year maximum length of stay in the route have been removed. And there are tradable points for certain characteristics across some occupations, and I'll go through what this means in practice and work through some examples with you in the next couple of slides. Just a reminder to everyone on the call, I can see a hand up. We're not taking questions from attendees on the call via the hands up function. All questions please submit via Slido. You can use the links and the QR codes that you'll see at the bottom of every slide to access that. So when we say it's a points-based system, what do we actually mean? Applicants need to score a total of 70 points, and by meeting the mandatory criteria, that's the job offer, skill level and English language requirements, they will score 50 points. To qualify for a skilled worker visa, applicants must obtain a further 20 tradable points through a combination of points for their salary, a job in the UK's shortage occupation list, or a relevant qualification. But I must highlight that listed health and education jobs do not have access to tradable points. They're subject to separate arrangements based on published pay scales. For listed health jobs, the remaining 20 points are gained where the salary equals or exceeds the national pay scale and is at least £20,480. For every occupation, there is a required salary that the worker has to be paid. For non-listed jobs, this is the higher of the general salary threshold, which is £25,600, or of the going rate for the job, whichever is higher. The appropriate salary for each occupation is set out on gov.uk, But it is possible to reduce that salary requirement if a skilled worker can score points for their attributes or the nature of the job. If the job is on the shortage occupation list, the applicant can get a 20% discount. If the applicant has a PhD that's relevant to the job, that's worth 10%, and that rises to 20% if the PhD is in a STEM subject. New entrants to the labour market can also secure a 30% discount. And these discounts apply to whatever sum the individual would otherwise need to earn for that particular occupation, whether that figure is based on the general salary threshold or a going rate. But there is a general floor of £20,480 below which a salary cannot drop when these discounts have been applied. And we are retaining the ability in the future to increase the number of attributes that will score tradable points to enable us to flex to meet the needs of the economy. But the mandatory requirements will not be tradable. You'll be aware that following the announcement just before Christmas that the government has agreed with the Migration Advisory Committee's recent recommendation to add care workers, care assistants and home carers to the shortage occupation list, and to add them to the health and care visa. These changes to the immigration system will mean that additional care workers could be recruited to strengthen the adult social care workforce in the UK. And these changes are intended to provide a staffing boost while local authorities and care employers deal with the additional capacity pressures caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. The route will be open by mid-February next week and will be open for applications for a minimum of 12 months. This gives time for employers to begin recruitment, register as visa sponsors, and prepare to welcome new arrivals to the workforce. So how does an overseas care worker qualify under the system? Under the points-based system, applicants looking to work in the UK are required to meet the mandatory points, the job offer from an approved sponsor, the job at the skill level, RQF3 or equivalent, and meeting the English language requirements. In line with this, care workers must have a job offer from an approved sponsor and will need to demonstrate the English language requirements either through passing an approved test or studying in English. However, care workers will not be required to meet the skill level threshold of RQF level 3. In making these changes, care workers will be the only occupation under RQF level 3 eligible to use the points-based system. With regards to salary, to qualify for these changes, the care worker will need to be paid the minimum salary threshold of £20,480 a year, which is the equivalent to being paid £10.10 for 39 hours per week. And this is consistent with the recommendation of the Independent Migration Advisory Committee. Employers wishing to recruit overseas care workers must be approved and licensed Home Office sponsors. And the government has worked hard to ensure that the sponsorship registration process is as straightforward as possible, with over 40,000 employers having already successfully become licensed sponsors. Care providers who do not already hold a sponsor license in the skilled worker route they will need to register for a sponsorship license ahead of the implementation in mid-February. Most sponsor license applications are decided within less than 8 weeks, and there is an option to get a decision within 10 working days if you need a quicker decision. Providers who are new to visa sponsorship will be supported through the process, and we have an expert with us today who will be telling you all you need to know a little later. Care workers can apply via the health and care visa. The health and care visa is part of the skilled worker route, and it ensures that individuals working in eligible health occupations with a job offer from the NHS, social care sector, or employers and organisations which provide services to the NHS who have good working English are incentivised to come to the UK. Applicants to the health and care worker visa benefit from fast-track entry, with reduced application fees and a dedicated team in UK Visas and Immigration processing their applications. The reduced visa fee means that applicants will pay either £232 for a visa lasting up to 3 years or £464 for a visa lasting more than 3 years. the majority of health and care applicants can expect a decision within 3 weeks of enrolling their biometrics. Applicants for the health and care visa are also exempt from paying the immigration health surcharge from the point of application, and the applicant's dependents, partner, spouse and children also pay reduced visa fees and are exempt as well from the immigration surcharge. To apply for a health and care worker visa, you'll need to be a qualified doctor or health professional or adult social care professional, including care workers, care assistants and home carers, work in an eligible health or social care job, work for a UK employer approved by the Home Office, have a certificate of sponsorship, be paid a minimum salary for the work that you do, and meet the English language requirement. The visa can last for up to 5 years before it has to be extended, and it can be extended as many times as required as long as the eligibility requirements are still met. After 5 years, the individuals may be able to apply to settle permanently in the UK, also known as indefinite leave to remain, which gives them the right to live, work and study here for as long as they like, and they can then apply for benefits which they may be eligible for. This case study shows someone applying for the role of a care worker through the health and care visa. So Alicia wants to come to the UK to work, and has been offered a job as a care worker for £10.10 an hour based on a 39-hour working week. Alicia meets all of the mandatory requirements. Her job offer is from an approved Home Office sponsor. The role is eligible under the health and care visa, and she meets the English language requirement, and that gives her the 50 points for meeting the mandatory criteria. As care workers are now a designated occupation on the shortage occupation list, Alicia will score her additional 20 points, which takes her to the 20-point total needed to meet the requirements of the health and care visa under the points-based system. Senior care workers have been on the shortage occupation list for a while. They're subject to the general salary threshold, but they are eligible for tradable points. The point-based system provides access to talent from around the world. Employers should first consider domestic recruitment options within the UK. You do need to have a sponsor licence to hire most workers from outside the UK, but this does not apply when hiring Irish citizens or EU citizens with status under the EU settlement scheme. As you can see on the slide, the green circles highlight the routes that don't require employer sponsorship, such as those that includes those that an employer can hire directly from the UK domestic labour market, which includes the local labour pool, those individuals with pre-settled or settled status under the EU settlement scheme, students and graduates, people here on the youth mobility scheme or via the UK ancestry route, British national overseas visa holders, those on the investor, business development and talent routes, and refugees and asylum seekers as well as their families. This last group of individuals is particularly relevant at present regarding the ongoing situation in Afghanistan and the subsequent relocation of some Afghan nationals in the UK. Employers will need to become sponsors in order to recruit an individual outside of the resident labour market. We have engaged extensively and listened carefully to businesses, and we've made a number of changes to the way they can sponsor a worker overseas. So whilst we do encourage people to look firstly to the domestic labour market, we have removed the formal resident labour market test and suspended the cap on numbers and certificates of sponsorship, which are no longer issued via a monthly panel, and these changes alone have resulted in a reduction of around 8 weeks to the process. It's crucial to note that businesses and organisations do not need to be a sponsor to employ somebody from that table of different groups of individuals in the resident labour market that was up before, including the millions of EU citizens who are here under the EU settlement scheme. In addition, it's now possible for workers to switch visas without having to leave the UK, providing that the individual meets the necessary requirements for their new visa. We have been working with employers directly through advisory groups, including a dedicated SME group, and we'll be making further improvements to the sponsorship system in 2022, which we will test with users. So as mentioned, looking forward to 2022 and beyond, we have a range of ambitious technological and system reforms planned to the sponsorship system. The key here is to make things faster and simpler. There are 4 main steps: improvement for customers, IT transformation, changes to existing systems, and engagement strategy. Improvement for customers is all about our users, both employees and sponsors. It's all about delivering a faster end-to-end customer journey from the point of applying for a sponsor license to being able to recruit an overseas worker. We're also doubling the cap for post-license priority service requests for those who want faster decisions. On top of speed, we're also addressing barriers to the system, especially with regards to small and medium enterprises. We're currently undertaking research to understand and address these barriers so that we can deliver the right support package to address them. On IT transformation, we will deliver a number of packages which will make the end-to-end process easier, and these will include those that allow a sponsor to sponsor a visa, manage a license, and become a sponsor respectively. And they'll be rolled out over the next couple of years to a very limited set of users first, to give us the opportunity to test and learn with real users before gradually increasing the volume of participants. On top of this, IT transformation will allow us to ensure compliance with the system, and features such as online checks between departments will reduce the opportunity for abuse of the system. Changes to the existing systems includes both the sponsoring of students and the global business mobility route. In addition, will improve compliance through better data sharing. Finally, engagement with our stakeholders has been at the centre of the design of these reforms, and in addition to gathering regular feedback, we will then communicate these changes through a comprehensive sponsorship engagement strategy to ensure that all stakeholders are aware of the changes that are being made and how they are affected by them. I'm just going to give you some information about right to work checks, and then Andrew from UK Visas and Immigration is going to give you all the information you need on how to become a sponsor. As of the 1st of July 2021, the process for completing right to work checks on EU, EEA and Swiss citizens changed. Employers can no longer accept EU passports or ID cards as valid proof of right to work, except for Irish citizens. An online right to work check is required for individuals who only hold digital proof of their immigration status in the UK, and this includes most EU, EEA and Swiss citizens. Just for information, these online right to work checks will be extended to include British and Irish citizens from April 22. To check the person's right to work, you will need to access the service, view a job applicant's right to work details, enter the share code provided to you by the individual, enter their date of birth. It's important to note that there is no mandatory requirement for employers to undertake retrospective checks on EEA citizens who were employed on or before the 30th of June 2021. Employers will maintain a continuous statutory excuse against a civil penalty in the event of illegal working if the initial right to work check was undertaken in line with right to work legislation and published guidance at that time. Updated guidance on how to conduct a right to work check from the 1st of July 21 and a list of acceptable documents can be found on gov.uk. But this is an example of a profile that you'll see when accessing the online Home Office right to work service. So there are a number of things you must do to access this. So once you've gained access to the individual's account through their share code, you must check the photograph on the online right to work check is of the individual presenting themselves to you for work, and you can do this in person or via a live video link. You must only employ the person if the online check confirms that they have the right to work and are not subject to a condition preventing them from doing so. For instance, under the graduate visa, An individual can work in any role except as a professional sports person, and this would show here. As the employer, you must retain evidence of the online right to work check. And for online checks, this should be the profile page confirming the individual's right to work. And this is the page that includes the individual's photo, the date on which the check was conducted. You will have the option of printing the profile or saving it as a PDF or HTML file.
Yeah, that is it there. I just want you to have idea about what is actually needed. And I believe you've had it all. A lot of people that are online there, most of the videos are online there, telling you all sorts of. I believe with that presentation, everything is as clear as ABC. You can still go back and listen to it. I'm not the one who made the video. It was a sort of meeting between Home Office and then other stakeholders. And then they've actually come out to tell you what you actually needed to get to the point of you being employed. So I won't repeat it. So just do the right thing. Don't fall for all these guys. If for the training's sake, I heard people are collecting hundreds of thousands of naira. I mean, people who live in Nigeria. If you need training at a fraction of that amount they are being collected, let me know. Just contact me straight away and I will get in touch with you. I will find a way to arrange this thing for you, and you will get the right certificate, British accepted certificate. So there won't be any problem for you. Just let me know. At the very fraction, at the very low price, that's what you will get it for. I know somebody will do it for you, and you will even get, because what they are doing there is about, I was told, just about 2 days training. You will do it by yourself online and you will get the right certificate. Let me know. So I will not waste much of your time. I'm even more or less out of time now. I really don't have much to give. I have lots to tell, but because of the time, I will just need to speed everything up. I only have about 1 minute left. So but next week, there's possibility I might be interviewing one of the carers just to tell you guys what it is to be a carer. How long has she been working, or how long has she been working? So people will be able to know where they are. And I hope you'll be fortunate enough to either you get those people who wanted to come to join the field, either you get somebody who will bring you down. And as I said about the last 2 weeks, if I know anybody, if any provider who is willing or who have got the license, and I talk to them and they said, okay, I should help them to source for people. Yeah, I will throw it out there. I know what it takes, but you won't regret coming to social work care. It's a very good field. It's a field that I always enjoy working. 2 days is never the same. Things happen and you grow. You find a way on how to manage a lot of things. You better your skills. As I said, you don't even need to be a carer. From carer, you could be, what's the name? Field supervisor, from field supervisor to care coordinator to care manager to register manager. You can even jump up. You can even, after about 2-3 years or even a year, you can even know your company. It depends how smart you are. So, as I said, until next week again, but don't forget to meet me on Thursday when I'll be coming with another movie review. There are a lot of few movies that came out today, but that is for Thursday. Until then, my name remains Murphy Ojo. See ya. Bye.